And the same agencies that knew that are the agencies that shut down the schools for 2 years. Who does that? Who takes away the support system for these children? Who takes them away and shuts it down? And by the way, when they shut it down, they stopped the mandated reporters from being able to see children that were being abused and sexually molested, and in fact sent them home and abandoned them to their abusers with no way to watch, and referrals dropped 50 to 60%. So
there was also a pandemic going on, and they were trying to save
kids' lives. Remember, we know a lot of folks who died during this, so it wasn't, people weren't laying around eating bond, but, well, you know what? We're lucky. Maybe we're lucky they didn't, because we kept them out of the places that they could be sick, because no one wanted to believe we had an issue.
Picture this. Dr. Phil, known for his straight-shooting wisdom and no-nonsense approach, walks into the lion's den of The View. What starts as a discussion about his career and latest ventures quickly spirals into one of the most heated exchanges we've seen on live TV. And the target of his calm but devastating takedown. None other than Whoopi Goldberg herself. Their argument about pandemic school closures and children's mental health turned into an explosive clash of facts versus opinions. And it left audiences stunned. So, what exactly did Dr. Phil say that left Whoopi visibly rattled? And how did the rest of the panel try, and fail, to recover from the fallout? Strap in, because this isn't just another TV spat. It's a masterclass in exposing uncomfortable truths. Before we dive into the details of this fiery exchange, do us a favor. Smash that like button and subscribe to our channel for more fearless takes on today's hottest debates. Did you just subscribe? You're awesome. Let's break this down. The segment began innocently enough. Dr. Phil was on The View to discuss his new ventures, including the launch of a news and entertainment cable network, Merit Street Media. He proudly shared how his platform would focus on delivering facts without spin, something he felt was sorely lacking in today's media landscape.
Last year, you aired the final episode of the Dr. Phil show after 21 seasons.
21.
So, so what have you missed the most about being on during daytime?
Well, you know, it's not about what I'm missing, it's about what I'm excited about going forward. In daytime, you've got a certain demographic, as you guys know, because a lot of people are at work, and you guys are such a part of America's fabric that you get taped and people watch you when they get home, and I think they did with us as well.
Yeah. The conversation then turned to his upcoming primetime show, which would tackle real issues with real people. But then came the pivot that set the stage for the now infamous clash. Dr. Phil shifted the focus to the devastating impact of pandemic school closures, especially on children. He explained that these closures had cut off vulnerable kids from their lifelines, teachers, counselors, and mandated reporters who are trained to spot signs of abuse. Referrals for abuse and neglect, he revealed, had dropped by a staggering 50–60%, leaving countless children in dire situations. The room grew tense as the hosts realized this wasn't going to be a feel-good segment about Dr. Phil's career. He was here to talk hard truths, and not everyone on the panel was ready for it.
But I'm excited to address men and kids that have been in school, and also it's fun to go on late at night. I mean, at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
You can say things that Brian doesn't let us say at 11
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
I've already been getting some warnings about that.
Dr. Phil, you were talking about things you're excited for. In April, you're launching an entire news and entertainment cable TV network called Merit Street Media. Now, you've built all new studios on a 5-acre campus in Texas. That's going to include a Dr. Phil museum. So tell us about what you've been working on.
Well, this is a whole new network, and it's 5 acres under roof, and we're going to have like 4 hours of news every day. And I have a real novel aspect about this news part of it. We're going to tell people the facts and let them make up their own mind about whether it's good news or bad news. Yeah. It's not going to be spin, spin, spin. We're just going to, here's what happened. You decide whether it's good news or bad news. And my show is kind of the anchor in prime time. And I'm going to deal with the things I've always dealt with. Real people talking about real challenges, looking for real solutions. But those have changed to include social issues, right? Think about when I started, it was in '02, the first text message had never been sent.
Wow.
Think about that. The first text message had never, ever been sent.
As Dr. Phil detailed the long-term consequences of these closures, Whoopi Goldberg couldn't hide her irritation. She interrupted, dismissing his concerns by saying, "Well, maybe we're lucky we kept them out of places where they could get sick. People were just trying to save lives." Dr. Phil, remaining calm but clearly frustrated, replied, "Who takes away a child's only support system and sends them back into abusive environments without oversight? If saving lives was the priority, why didn't we also prioritize their mental health and safety at home? It's not an either-or situation. We could have done better." Sonny Hostin then chimed in with a baffling question. But was it all children or just some children?
And now we have to deal with, like '08, '09, the smartphone came out. Everything
Gets their news from you. You're just to jump in here. When your network starts, you're hosting the primetime show called Dr. Phil Primetime, and for an upcoming episode, my understanding is that you went to the southern border. Now you're saying that you're going to give people facts. What did you take away from that experience, and what kind of reporting are you going to be bringing back from that experience?
I'll tell you a fact I took away. I talked to the head of all the border guards down there, the head of the union. I asked him straight up, kids are coming over the border with numbers written on them, phone numbers and addresses. Do we check those out? He said, well, we call them. Is it possible that we're sending them into known prostitution rings or sweatshops? He said, it's not possible. It is absolute. We are using American tax dollars to ship children into known prostitution and sweatshops.
Some children.
Well, who knows?
Dr. Phil didn't miss a beat. Even one child being sent into those conditions is one too many. He fired back. We cannot reduce children to mere statistics when their lives are on the line. The audience reaction was palpable. Gasps and murmurs filled the studio as Dr. Phil dismantled their dismissive arguments with cold, hard facts. The tension escalated further when Dr. Phil brought up his recent investigation at the southern border. He revealed a harrowing fact. Children crossing the border often had phone numbers written on their bodies and were being sent into known prostitution rings and sweatshops. "This isn't speculation. This is fact," he said, his voice steady but powerful. "And it's funded by taxpayer dollars."
I want to make sure we get to your new book, which is We've Got Issues. And a lot, you were referring to it in the last segment, how much has changed since you first got started in this. And one of the things is social media.
Well, think about it. In like '08, '09, smartphones came on, and kids they stopped living their lives and started watching people live their lives. And so we saw the biggest spike and the highest levels of depression, anxiety, loneliness, and suicidality since records have ever been kept. And it's just continued on and on and on. And
Sonny, visibly uncomfortable, attempted to deflect. "But how many children are we really talking about?" she asked. Dr. Phil's response was razor sharp. "One is too many. Are we really debating the acceptable number of children to be sent into exploitation? Because if we are, we've lost our way entirely." The room fell silent. Even Whoopi, usually quick with a retort, seemed at a loss for words. This wasn't just a heated moment on daytime TV. It was a wake-up call. Dr. Phil's remarks highlighted the dangers of ignoring inconvenient truths for the sake of political narratives. His calm yet forceful delivery contrasted sharply with Whoopi and Sonny's defensive responses, exposing the flawed logic and moral inconsistencies that often plague debates on platforms like The View. For years, The View has been criticized for prioritizing sensationalism over substantive dialogue. And this segment was no exception. Instead of engaging with Dr. Phil's points, the hosts seemed more concerned with protecting their ideological bubble. Dr. Phil's takedown wasn't just about holding the hosts accountable. It was a reminder that some issues transcend politics. The mental health and safety of children should never be reduced to talking points or dismissed with platitudes. Dr. Phil's appearance on The View was a masterclass in confronting difficult truths with poise and precision. While Whoopi and Sonny scrambled to deflect and downplay, Dr. Phil stuck to the facts, delivering a powerful message about accountability, empathy, and the need for real solutions. This wasn't just a clash of personalities. It was a clash of values. And for viewers at home, it was a stark reminder of why critical thinking and open dialogue matter now more than ever. So, what's your take on Dr. Phil's hard-hitting truths versus The View's defensive deflections?
And then COVID hits 10 years later, and the same agencies that knew that are the agencies that shut down the schools for 2 years. Who does that? Who takes away the support system for these children? Who takes them away and shuts it down? And by the way, when they shut it down, they stopped the mandated reporters from being able to see children that were being abused and sexually molested, and in fact sent them home and abandoned them to their abusers with no way to watch, and referrals dropped 50 to 60%. So
there was also a pandemic going on, and they were trying to save
They were trying to save kids'
well.
lives. Remember, we know a lot of folks who died during this. So it wasn't, people weren't laying around eating bond, but, well, you know what? We're lucky. Maybe we're lucky they didn't, because we kept them out of the places that they could be sick, because no one wanted to believe we had an issue.
Wow.